Hi guys, it's Juliet here from Spoilt Beads, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this lovely chunky spiral rope necklace that I'm wearing using Miyuki cube beads, size 6 seed beads and size 8 seed beads. And I've also made this really pretty bracelet as well using the same technique in these really pretty autumnal colours. So stick with me and I'll show you how to get started. Okay, so to make one of these chunky spiral rope necklaces, you're going to need some fireline thread, and I'm using a £6 fireline in the black satin colour. You're going to need a thread cutter, and I've got my clover thread cutter here, which is very handy. It has all the little blades all around the outside here, and it's very nice and sharp. And the fact that it's a thread cutter specifically designed for this job means that nobody else can pinch it like they do with my scissors. You're going to need a size 10 beady needle, a clasp for your necklace or your bracelet, and then you're going to need your beads. And I've chosen to use these Miyuki cubes here in this lovely matte silverline teal colourway. So these are the 3mm Miyuki cube beads. Then I've got some size 8 seed beads and some size 6 seed beads. On the necklace here that I made earlier, I've chosen to use two different colours of size 6 seed beads. Those are the bigger ones, the size 6 seed beads. I've got one colour for my core here, and then this paler aqua colour here is also a size 6 seed bead. And then I've also chosen to use two different colours of size 8 seed beads on my necklace as well. But when I do my bracelet in a moment, I'm just going to be using the same colour size 6 seed beads for my core and for my loops on my chunky spiral rope. So I'm just going to show you how to get started now. So to get started, you need to thread your needle up with the longest length of fire line that you're happy working with, and in my case that's about 1.5 meters. Then take a bead from your stash, and this is a bead that's not related to this project because it's only going to form a stopper bead, and you're going to remove it later on. So I've just found a little random 6mm fire polish bead here. Thread it onto your needle and take it down towards the tail of your thread. And you need to leave a tail of around about 10 inches because you're going to use this tail to attach your clasp when you've finished making your bracelet. So thread your bead down towards the tail and then go back up through the bead so that the thread loops around the outside of the bead like that. And if I turn that over, you can see the thread there on the outside of the bead there. There we go. And now you're ready to start threading the beads for your bracelet. So you want to begin by threading 4 of your size 6 seed beads, followed by 2 size 8 beads, another size 6 bead, a cube, another size 6 bead, and then 2 more of your size 8 seed beads, and take those down your thread to that stopper bead like so. And now you need to take your needle and go back up through the first 4 beads, which are the first 4 size 6 seed beads, and you'll find that your beads will sit in a loop there around the outside of your core beads. So these are going to be the core beads, and this is going to be the loop here. And now I'm ready to start again. So I pick up a size 6 seed bead, and then 2 of my size 8 seed beads, another size 6 seed bead, a cube, another size 6 seed bead, and 2 of my size 8 seed beads. Let those fall down. And now what you need to do is go back up through the last 4 size 6 seed beads that you added. So that's the one you just added and the 3 below it, like so. And pull that tight. There we go. And you can already, I've just done 2 stitches, and you can already see my loops beginning to form there. So I'm going to repeat that again, picking up a size 6 seed bead, then 2 size 8 seed beads, a size 6 seed bead, a cube, a size 6 seed bead, and 2 more size 8 seed beads. Take those down to my beadwork and thread up through the last 4 size 6 seed beads that I added. And there we go. And it's as simple as that. You can see that spiral beginning to form. So I'm just going to keep going now and keep building my spiral until my bracelet is around about 1.5 inches smaller than I want it to be. And then I'm going to come back to you and show you how to finish off and how to add your clasp. Okay, so I've been beading for a little while now, and as you can see, my spiral's building really quite nicely. I'm very pleased with the way these colours have turned out. But my thread is quite short now, so I need to finish off this thread and then attach some more thread. So I thought I'd show you guys how to do that. So I've finished off this last stitch with my thread coming out of one of my central core beads. And what I'm going to do is take the thread down through my last loop. Excuse me. There we go, down through this last loop, all the way through those beads. There we go. Making sure everything is pulled nice and tight. And now what I can do is tie a half hitch knot around the thread that's in between my last two beads here. So I'm going to go through down between two beads so that I form a loop, and then go through that loop with my needle. And I'm going to do that a couple of times. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is just go up through a couple of my core beads and just pop out between two of my core beads. And I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to hook my needle underneath the thread between these two beads so that I get a loop, go through the loop, pull that nice and tight, do that again, and then one more time just for luck there. There we go. And now thread up through the next bead and snip off my thread using my thread cutter. There we go. So that's my old thread finished off, and now I need to attach some new thread. So I'm going to take some more of my lovely fire line here. Again, the longest length that you can be happy working with, because then you don't have to attach on your thread too often, and thread up my needle. Always found it helps if you just squash the fire line a little bit between your finger and thumb before you try and thread it. It seems to make it pass through the needle a lot more easily. So there's my needle threaded up. And what I need to do is attach my new thread in exactly the same way as I finished off the old thread. So what I am going to do is I need to finish off though so that my thread is popping out of my last core bead. So out of this core bead here, that's where I need to end up. What I'm going to do is thread my needle between a couple of my beads on my last loop and tie a knot, so that, and I'm going to tie a double knot and let that knot fall between a couple of my beads there, and then I can thread down through the beads in that loop. I'm going to pop out between these two size 8 seed beads here, and again I'm going to tie half hitch knot. So I'm going between the beads to create a loop with my new thread. There's my loop. Go through my loop and pull that tight. I'm going to do that again between those same beads, and then thread through that next bead in that loop and back up through. I'm going to go back up through 3 of my core beads, and I'm going to then tie another half hitch knot between my 2 core beads there. So again, I made a loop. I'm going to pass through the loop with my working thread and pull that loop down between the 2 beads and pop out through my last core bead there. So now you can see my new thread is attached. It's nice and secure. I can chop off this tail of thread that was left over from when I attached my new thread. I'll do that with my clover thread cutter there, and I'm ready to continue beading. So I'm going to keep on beading and come back to you when I'm ready to attach my clasp. Okay, so I've got to the stage now where my bracelet is around about 1.5 inches shorter than I want it to be. So I'm ready to attach my clasp. So my thread is now coming out of my last core bead added, and what I'm going to do is pick up 3 size 8 seed beads, followed by 1/2 of my clasp, and now I'm going to go back down through that last size 8 seed bead that I added and pull that tight, and then pick up 2 more size 8 seed beads. And now I'm going to go back down through the last 4 core beads there, pull that tight, and go back up through the last loop on my spiral. Pull this all nice and tight, and from here I'm now going to go through the beads in my clasp loop one more time to add some strength to it. So I'm just going through all of those beads in that clasp loop just to add some strength to my clasp loop there. Keep getting my threads caught around my beads, there we go. And then back down through this here. And that just has the effect of adding some strength there. And there you can see my clasp is attached, and I'm ready now to finish off this thread. So I'm going back through those core beads, pulling everything nice and tight, and I'm going to go back through a couple of beads there on my loop, my last loop there, and tie some half hitch knots between a few of those beads. Go through a few more beads and tie another couple of half hitch knots. There we go. Do that a few more times till I'm happy that it's nice and secure, and then pull my thread into the next few beads, and then I'm ready to trim off. Actually, I'm going to tie one more half hitch knot here just because I can, and then go through the next few beads. And this is going to be my last knot now. Last knot. I'm nice and happy that that's nice and secure. And now what I can do is use my clover thread cutter just to trim off that tail of thread. And that is my clasp attached there to the end. And what I can do now is turn my bracelet around, and where we had that stopper bead at the very beginning, I can slide that stopper bead off, and I'm going to add a needle to this tail of thread and repeat exactly the same step for the other half of my clasp there. So this is how you make one of these lovely chunky spiral ropes. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. Please let us know what you think in the comments below, and come back soon for more inspiration. Bye guys.